Um, Welcome to the Benzo Grindhouse Dungeon.
Hell yeah. That
This
sounds
is
dope.
episode one of us. I'm pretty drunk.
Getting there.
Just gonna go ahead and throw that out there. First off,
Great.
I'm joined by Jonathan and Murr from Bringing Down the Grindhouse podcast, which is on Instagram at BDGTH _
It's so unnecessarily hard.
You were close.
I don't know why we made it like that. This is terrible. Just Google Bringing Down the Grindhouse.
Down the Grindhouse podcast. I got it right, didn't I? Or no?
Almost.
I think the G and the T were switched.
Oh yeah, I think I did do the T before the G, I think.
Yeah,
or,
so
or whatever way.
BDGH_podcast.
Yeah. Just Google it. Go Google Bringing Down the Grindhouse, and you'll find us on Spotify.
Yeah,
and
I'll put a link in the description as well.
Yeah,
once it's all uploaded. So
you also don't typically get to see us.
Yeah, that is something interesting to see, that us finally in person.
Right, we don't
just
do video usually. Yeah, I look like shit right now, but it's fine.
The goggles are actually permanently attached to Murr's head.
Right,
if anyone's wondering.
He
can't take them off, and he won't take them off. Actually,
that's the truth. I was born with them.
It's like a Cyclops sort of thing. A Cyclops from X-Men, where if he takes them off, the laser beams are gonna like destroy everything around him. So, we are supposedly going to talk about zombies, which I have like a Google image search pulled up of zombies, but
great.
Like, that ain't great.
Yeah, let's talk about how shitty The Walking Dead is.
Yeah.
Let's start with that.
I got. We were talking about why the fuck do they just never use zombies? They just always were like walkers,
right?
And shamblers.
Like, the word zombies is locked off in The Walking Dead, and there's no reason for it to be locked off because we all know what a zombie is, and if we were in an actual zombie apocalypse, we'd be like, oh shit, there's a bunch of zombies. We wouldn't say intentionally like police our language to say like, oh no, we don't know what zombies are, we're gonna call these walkers because they walk. That's the first thing that sucks about The Walking Dead.
They also never say The Walking Dead in the actual show.
I would love to hear that.
Yeah, the dead are walking. The Walking Dead, something like that would be it. Just cut the credits at that point.
Yeah, you got to do the guy said the thing. He said the title. Yay.
Yeah. Please give us something.
But the thing is, they also go and call them biters or shamblers, and it's just so unnecessary. I think the reason for that is because they knew that they were going to be making something culturally significant because the comic was successful, quote unquote. So they wanted to bring, I don't know, new vocabulary to the culture, but it's just dumb.
Right. Bringing new vocabulary to a culture that's like already established is a failed position, right?
Yeah, I mean, zombies have been around since the 60s, and prior to that, they were even depicted in the 30s with like voodoo magic and stuff.
Yeah, we all get what it is, and so dodging what a zombie is like fucking stupid.
I was also really mad at some point that it had nothing to do with zombies. It was literally just about them like constantly killing each other, and then I lost interest because of that. And I was like, I want to see people just get like ripped apart. What is this shit?
Well,
like when what's his face got, what is his name? The guy who got disemboweled.
Are you talking about
Yeah, he gets his head beaten later.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that was the shit. That went fucking hard when they came back and were like, you know what we're gonna do? Bam, 3 characters dead. And I was like, this is some
when they killed Glenn.
Yeah, when they killed Glenn and the other dude nobody cares about. And they were just like, yo, fuck it. Just bring him in and beat him to death. And I was like, yeah, this is what I signed up for this show. Right. And then that show went hard after that.
Well, I mean, that was a moment where everyone on the internet was kind of just like, they killed off a main character. What the fuck? And you're like, yeah, you could do that in writing.
About fucking time. It took them like 6 fucking seasons.
It's actually better when you kill off a main character because at the very least you've like alarmed some people. Which is honestly a critique I have about all the Marvel movies, which is that like none of the main characters actually die. Black Widow supposedly died, and then they made like a movie sequel based off of Black Widow, like after she supposedly died.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. In fairness, they find a lot of ways to bring people back from the dead in the comics.
Well, yeah,
like
because you like the character, and so
right.
You don't want people to feel bad when a character dies. You want people to be like, oh no.
Again, when they were fucking temporarily dying.
Yeah.
What is it? I think it was the Civil War comics when they're like literally killing each other.
Yeah.
Fucking Iron Man holding Captain America's dead body at the end of that was fucking great. I was like, this is where it should be. And then
which
they were like,
what happens in the movies, right?
Kinda.
They kind of just they figure out that they shouldn't be killing each other.
Okay, wait. We have to talk about when Iron Man has literal fucking proof of Captain America's buddy like straight up murdering his parents, and then Captain America's like, chill, bro. And you're like, whoa. He's like, he literally has fucking video proof that his parents got fucking murked. And then he was like, dog. And then they fucking team up and beat him up.
We should approach this calmly.
Now, hear me out. Your dad was kind of an asshole.
They literally like fucking the next scene is them like just beating him up, like straight up jumping him.
Well, yeah, I mean the edible complex is always your dad sucks. He's banging your mom. That's fucked up, right? So you gotta kill your dad.
Also, didn't fucking Captain America fuck the girl's like niece?
I don't know.
Peggy Carter.
Yeah. It wasn't. Didn't he
definitely was trying to hit on her.
No, they like.
Oh wait, they had a thing.
Yeah, they had like a thing.
Yeah, he's like, I can't have the old woman, but I can have you.
You find out that like she was assigned to like get close to him by S.H.I.E.L.D., and you're like, oh, that's pretty fucked. But anyway,
yeah, I mean, this is all stuff that's written in retrospect, which is why it sucks, I think.
Because back to the Black Widow thing. I mean, when you kill off a main character and then you make a prequel to it, no one gives a shit because they know the end result.
Right? Yeah.
So like when
I guess
when my dad drunkenly comes in, I love him, by the way. When he drunkenly comes into my room and says,
I'm fucking dead. I love him, by the way.
When he comes into my room drunkenly and says, I want to watch the new Spider-Man. What new Marvel movies are you to watch? I was like, well, there's the Black Widow movie. And he's like, I don't give a fuck. She died in Endgame.
Yeah, exactly.
It's died in Endgame. I don't give a fuck.
So I was just like, you know what? You could just watch the new Spider-Man. Go for it. And he was a happy man.
That's pretty fucking funny.
It was just such a great time to just see him drunkenly come in my room. I want to watch the new Spider-Man.
give me some Spider-Man. I got to see the Spider-Mans.
And it even tricked the whole generation of like Gen Zers that the Amazing Spider-Man is good because the actor is hot.
You're talking about Garfield?
Yeah.
All right, but he is hot though.
He is hot. but the story's weak.
Disagree. What I think is also funny is that who was the guy before Andrew Garfield?
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire.
That's our boy.
Tobey Maguire. Yeah. Jesus. Those films.
Tobey Maguire was fucking dog shit.
Yeah.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, fucking yeah. The only good thing about
spicy
that movie,
opinions coming out.
The only good thing about that movie was fucking having the Green Goblin.
Well, yeah.
That's it.
I never felt a weirder connection than seeing the end of Spider-Man 2 and then Mary Jane's like, go get him, Tiger. And everyone in the fucking theater clapped at the end. I was like, this is a weird cultural moment right now.
I hate this so much. I hate it.
Yeah.
I also love his emo phase.
No. Horrible.
No.
He's like,
no. Like I really had a crisis of venom in him,
so he becomes like a goofy little bad boy. Like, no, that's garbage. That sucks so bad.
The other Venom is only good because I get to see Tom Hardy just be an absolute mess the entire fucking movie. Like he never gets to recover. He's just sweaty, dirty, like gets his ass beat every fucking scene, and it's so funny.
Recently we were talking about on our last episode of the podcast how we enjoy movie tracks that don't relate to the movie at all, but they're named after the movie or some shit.
You're talking about like 21 Savage and
shit? Yeah. So we watched a movie called Spiral, and in it there's an original song by 21 Savage that doesn't even relate to the movie at all, but they're gonna make it, you know.
You know what I fucking like? When they add in new music to period pieces, like when you watch like Django and they've got like rap in that shit, or like what was the new one that came out? Damn, I think it's the Harder They Fall, I think is what it is.
That was actually kind of a good movie though.
It's a decent movie. It's really good. Although I don't really like Lakeith Stanfield. I feel like he's the same awkward person in every film he's in. Like he's not acting.
He's the guy that's like the famous dueler, right?
Right, yeah. Who just straight up shoots the dude in the face, like no countdown. And you're like, fuck this guy.
He doesn't play that character very well, I think, because he just seems like sad.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I was like, I don't know. He was in like the fucking Death Note movie, which was also really weird.
Refuse to watch anything associated with anime, so haven't seen it, don't know it.
You are such a liar. So you're telling me you don't watch hentai?
Yeah.
Well,
what the hell, man?
That's different.
That's anime, bro. That's anime.
You know,
I don't see that as anime. I see that as my pictures.
Yeah, my picture. Oh wow, you're on pictures.
I'll never forget the moment where my mom was like, "Hey, you should talk to your cousin." And I'm like, "What's up?" Well, his mom caught him, fapping to like anime characters, and I was like, "Oh, who would do that? Who would do that?"
Yeah, who's ever seen anime titties?
Nah, dog. You gotta do like that. The one story you saw on Reddit where the dude just kept going while keeping eye contact. You can't stop. You gotta show the dominance in the house.
Just Joker mode, fucking through whatever your parents catch you jacking off to.
Yeah,
just make eye contact. Make them feel bad for you.
Yeah, make them feel bad. For entering your private space,
your private domicile.
Yeah, and then when they ask you why you did it, you just be like, you wouldn't understand. You wouldn't get it.
You wouldn't get it.
That's the joke, right? From the Joker. Yeah.
This is Tifa, my girlfriend from Final Fantasy VII.
It's like a body pillow. It's just right there. It's like a body pillow, but it's obviously like there's an area that's kind of smeared away.
That just reminds me of because we were talking about The Walking Dead earlier, but how Daryl has like a weird mommy complex to Carol. Like he wants to keep her safe, but he's also really into her sexually.
Oh, I don't think he ever. Nah, he didn't want to fuck her.
He definitely did. You could tell.
No, Daryl with Carol.
Yeah, she was old fashioned.
Daryl with Carol.
That was.
It rhymes.
That sounded weird.
We stand it.
No, what they? No.
You don't think so?
I think it's just because I don't.
You think he just wants to take care of like this grandma?
Yeah, dog. He like actually, they're like best friends in the show.
Oh, I could have swore that he definitely had the hots for her.
No, he had the hots for the black girl later.
That's right.
The one who's deaf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or she's deaf because she does sign language. Oh no, she's mute.
Mm-hmm.
She's mute.
I don't know. I fell off the series because eventually we got burned out on The Walking Dead because they kept making seasons.
Yeah, you know what was dope?
They kept doing the show long after they should have stopped doing the
show. So I fucking I loved having Negan just absolutely destroy their lives on that show. Like they committed to him being like the evilest person on that show.
One of my favorite pieces from that era of like Negan was the fact that they had the guy that played Trevor in GTA 5 as one of his henchmen, and he's just as batshit crazy as Negan.
Wait, which dude?
I could look up his name. His name is actually Trevor, which is hilarious. But they based him in GTA 5 as the meth addict fucking Trevor who beats people's
I remember
brains
that
in.
guy. Yeah. Also, Negan. If you're a person who has watched Supernatural, Negan is the boy's dad. So
geez.
it was weird to see him as a murderous person in the zombie apocalypse when I'm thinking about the boys from Supernatural, and this is their papa. Now he's evil.
It's kind of a weird shift. The actor's name that I was mentioning is Stephen Ogg, who is in that season of The Walking Dead. However, we were talking about this recently, how Doctor Who, like the most recent doctors, have all played villains within the last 10 years.
Fucking Matt Smith.
Matt Smith, David as well Tennant. As David Tennant. They're playing evil guys.
Yeah. Although David Tennant's pretty believable. He's got that like rat face. You know what I'm talking about? Like he was in Harry Potter as a bad guy too. You know what I'm talking about? Like the narrow face, like the teeth. He's got the like tiny teeth. It's like kind of, it's just weird. He's also like really British too. So
they love to ham it up. So when they're like always introducing these characters, they're always over the top and grandiose. And I get that Doctor Who vibe. And they're like, oh yeah, by the way, I kill people.
Yeah, we recently watched, what is it, Last Night in Soho?
Yes.
And Matt Smith, he looks like a fucking Neanderthal, by the way. That dude, it's like the strongest brow you've ever seen. So much that like it looks like his eyebrows disappear underneath this like strong bone structure on top of his head. Anyway, he ends up being the bad guy in that movie, sorta.
You gotta watch it. It's a weird movie.
Yeah, it was a weird movie.
We gotta go back to like the Greco-Roman tradition of like killing actors after they've like played a role. So
like if they did it badly.
Yeah. So that we don't have to like think about them, the next role they play, like, oh, this is the dad from Supernatural. Like, no, he's dead now. In real life.
Well, all I could think about is that one guy. What's his name from the Island of Dr. Moreau? Marlon Brando.
Oh my god!
Oh, what a fuck!
I love that we kept getting his name wrong on everything we mentioned on the podcast. Marlon Brando was the dude, which is really funny because that'll probably piss off a lot of people because they like really love him in his what is it?
In his prime and Godfather.
Yeah, in his older movies. Yeah, that's true. He wasn't the Godfather. I totally forgot about that.
I don't know if you ever heard about that story, Deebs, but like eventually this guy just refused to work with Val Kilmer, even though they were on the same set, and he would just never leave his RV. Always, and he would spend hours just making oven baked pizzas and saying, "Hey, Val Kilmer, I'll come out and shoot whenever you're fucking ready, you pussy."
And they did this to each other for like hours while the rest of the crew was sitting outside.
That sounds fucking awesome, funny. To be honest.
Oh god,
Marlon Brando. He was
such a cursed movie.
He also forgot to. He wouldn't ever look at the script, but he had an earpiece in the entire movie where someone would be reading his lines, and eventually, one of the carriers for like the radio transmissions caught a police report. And so mid scene, he goes, "There's a robbery on 5th and 7th."
This is an old fuck who can't remember anything. That's so funny. I love that shit.
Yeah. Fun, bad movie, but a fun disaster tale for sure.
What was it called? The Island
of Dr. Moreau.
Yeah, what a terrible fucking movie. Go watch it. Because holy
what
shit.
An awful movie. Put it in your eyes.
Put it in your eyes.
We've talked about a few movies that were just absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
Like,
have you guys seen
at least 3?
We talked about it 2 episodes ago on the Benzo Rehab dungeon, but Robot in the Family.
No.
That's, what is that? You gotta tell me.
This is unironically the worst film I've ever seen.
Dang.
I have no way of describing it to you except for it is the worst film I've ever seen. And like, I don't normally like most movies because I'm an old codger. But Robot in the Family is worse than The Room.
Oh,
like The
Robot in
Room
the
has
Family
a plot.
came out in '94.
Yeah, it came out way too.
1.7.
Yeah, it came out way too recently for it to be as bad as it is.
This looks awful. But
Yeah.
was it as bad as Clifford the Big Red Dog?
What?
Because
quite
they
worse.
talked about Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Yeah, we
Oh,
do
wow.
movie reviews in the first half of Benzo Rehab Dungeon. Almost as a running gag because none of us like movies, but
So you guys obviously need to watch the animation masterpiece Paddington.
Oh,
no,
100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Because obviously
there's no
Rotten
way
Tomatoes
that's
is
real.
the epitome of credibility. What's up?
I was saying there's no way that's real.
Oh no, Google it. That shit's real.
Well, no. I mean, like the reviews can't possibly be real, because it's Paddington.
No,
Bear.
it's all fake.
Yeah,
They totally bought it.
It was one of those 4chan raids where like Paddington is the movie we will stand by.
Right?
You know?
Yeah. Every now and again, they'll just be like, "We're gonna support this movie," and that's one of them. Somehow,
we mainly talk about horror on our podcast, so
it's true.
Zombies are always there fun.
Well, yeah. If you really want to experience horror, I think you guys should watch Robot in the Family.
Can you give us a little synopsis? Like, what's the plot like?
Bad. Plot is bad. So there's a Turkish immigrant to America. None of that matters except for the accent is played very poorly. It's Joey Pantoliano from The Matrix. He plays a role in The Matrix. But he's the main dad, and he does a really bad Turkish accent that like falls in and out of kind of being adjacent to Tommy Wiseau's accent in The Room.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so he sucks. Dorian is coming in.
Oh fuck
wow.
yeah.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
This is the most impromptu garbage show anyone's ever done.
Yeah, let's fucking do
the
it.
worst show in the
Yeah.
universe. Hell yeah.
What the fuck?
You still talking about Robot in the Motherfucking Family?
Yes, yes, we are. We're going to have to watch it
That's where
now.
we kind of ended up. But
a fine film about the Israel-Palestine conflict solved by Turks.
Right. It is
Jewish
so
robots,
unnecessarily complicated.
At some point, there has to be a robot in the film, right? So.
Yeah, and it never stops talking. It's built by this Turkish dad to find gold.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this almost. This
but
almost
also to
like
protect his
to
family.
Chappie.
Yeah, right. So it's not a cool robot. This is not like Forbidden Planet cool robot.
No, this robot looks like, all right, so imagine like that old movie, the Iron Giant.
Yeah.
Which is a cool robot. But if you
that's a
take
cool robot.
that and you made him fuck like a stoplight. That's probably what would come out.
And then
like
you also made him like racistly Jewish.
Yeah. Of course. But
I mean, he
like
loves
an
gold,
East Coast
so...
Jew, not like a It's there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
So it's a New York stoplight.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's also my favorite sex movie.
It's ready to go down to the bodega. Feed the cat a little salami.
You wanna try the New York stoplight?
Feed the cat a little salami, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, gentlemen, I just wanted to say hi.
Oh, well,
nice
you entered the
you.
chat, so I made you a permanent member of the podcast now.
Yeah. Love you guys.
Love you.
Love you.
Inshallah.
Dork.
Shalom.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov? Question mark?
I don't know.
Do we say the Jewish good? I don't know.
Well, what you guys were describing, it kind of sounds like a precursor of a movie we talked about called Chappie. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Chappie was legit.
Yeah,
I
remember Chappie being a movie. I don't remember anything besides Chappie.
It stars Dev Patel, who just recently did The Green Knight.
Yeah,
looking very young,
highly underrated.
Yeah.
No, the Green Knight is a wonderful film.
Yes,
Chappie is.
I love when we watched it in the theater. My favorite part was when we got up, or when the movie ended, and then we got up, and the guy in front of us was like, "What the fuck did I just watch?" And then just left angry, like really angry that he watched The Green Knight.
How could you be angry at that film? That was a good film.
I'm probably expecting like dragons and a giant war to break out.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
he
was poisoned by
not
Marvel movie probably expectations, I think.
I mean,
he should have watched The Last Duel.
I had a conversation where someone was trying to explain to me that the Black Widow movie was better than the Green Knight, and I had to leave that group chat.
Wait, the what was better than the Green Knight?
The new Scarlett Johansson Black Widow movie.
The movie. The only good thing about that movie was David Harbour, who plays the fucking Russian version of Captain America.
And I'm not disagreeing with you, but he's also the worst part of that movie, I think.
also the worst part, because he's highly entertaining when he tries to do his accent, and then like is just a fatter version of himself trying to fit into his old suit.
I have a soft
that's
spot
the only
for
funny part. Right, go ahead.
I have a soft spot for Florence Pugh, though.
Who is that again?
She's the actress who's the main character in Midsommar.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Do you have a soft spot, or like, do you just think she's nice and cute?
You know what? She is a very beautiful, talented actress.
Wow.
And she's
kind of what
super. Yeah, I guess not a soft spot. It's more like a hard on.
I was like, there we go. That's really what you meant.
Please, we. I like to think of you as a space alien with goggles and a cowboy hat. So please don't sexualize yourself in this way.
How can you not tell me that every alien just wanted to fuck human women at some point?
Yeah, right.
We went there, yeah.
I fucking hate this so
that's
much.
That's always the plot to these aliens. Turns out
they want
ladies are cute and they want to bang them.
Look at the premise of Duke Nukem.
No,
stealing our babes.
I agree with you.
Okay, so like Duke Nukem, I obviously was playing that when I shouldn't have, when I was way too young, and I didn't know what was in the game. I just knew that I got to shoot aliens, and so I bring it home. I put it in the fucking PlayStation or wherever the fuck I was playing it on, and it's on the big screen TV in my grandparents' house. Like my whole family's in the kitchen because they're Mexican and they all sit in there and have their meals. And so it comes on, and obviously the first scene is him going to a strip club.
Hell yeah,
and shooting pig cops. And so my mom looks over and she's like, "What the fuck did you buy him?" Because my dad bought it for me because he didn't fucking check that shit. He was like 18 plus, whatever, here, and then gave me the game. Same with Grand Theft Auto, but like I'm playing this and I'm trying to skip through it. Like you're like, just fucking let me get into the game. And he's like, "No, just like let him like play it." And then you get into it and you just hear the lines from him through the fucking, and they're just all inappropriate.
Oh, they're all inappropriate one-liners.
He's like the worst, kind of misogynist dude where he's like, "I'm God's gift to women." And you're just like, "Oh, this is bad." And he like says shit he says that shit while he's peeing or something like that. You could pee in the toilet in this game, which is so weird. Like it was the first one to include shit like that.
Duke Nukem was just like, it's that, hey, what if we took every one-liner from every cool movie and just made it into a blonde titanium person?
Yo, what if they made that into a movie? I'd write it and direct a Duke Nukem movie. That'd be hilarious.
Fun.
I mean,
so much fun.
Duke Nukem is a precursor to BJ Blazkowicz, which is the best action game protagonist, I think. And
why do you believe that?
Best action game protagonist.
Why do I believe that BJ Blazkowicz is the best video game protagonist? He's a Jew that kills Nazis. That fucking rules.
I mean,
there.
You know, I would argue that the only one that's better is Conker from Conker's Bad Fur Day, but
no, fuck off. No, that doesn't have nearly the same historical relevance. Like when you play BJ Blazkowicz killing Nazis, you fucking feel something deep in your heart. I don't know about you, but
you know what this makes me think of? This makes me think of when people. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, please, go ahead.
I was thinking about when Wolfenstein came out, and people were like, "How dare they make this violent video game about killing Nazis?"
You kill Nazis to death.
Yeah, and they were like, "Literally, this is what the game has always been about. Like, we released this in the '80s, and you were killing Nazis. Like, what are you talking about?"
It was just like 3 people in like a little studio.
Yeah.
And then they were like,
what if a Jew killed a bunch of Nazis? That would be great, right?
Yeah, they were like, fuck yeah, this is a good game. And then they released it again and people loved it.
I gotta say, I played the newer games, which is
fucking dope.
Interesting concept, because you're working with this resistance against the Nazis, and you meet all these colorful characters. There's one point where BJ Blazkowicz, he falls in love with a woman, and she's on a giant like submarine plane with him, and she gets her shirt ripped off, and she's pregnant with his kids, and she just takes out 2 guns and starts blowing up this giant robot, and she's getting covered in blood. And he's like, I fucking love this woman.
Exactly. You can't
dope.
love someone stronger than that, you know? Like once they rip off their shirt, titties out, baby in, that's the most you can love someone.
Oh my god, that's funny. I'm trying to think if there's any other moments I can think of that are like that.
We have some like comments coming in the chat.
Oh shit, I didn't know people were watching.
Madison G, I don't know who she is, but she says love seeing the Taurus gang on TBRD. I want to see Justine.
All right, you can just kick her now.
Somebody named Bust a Nut said penis, and then Madison G says, "Where is she? Why are you hiding her from me?" Also, Murr's fit is legendary, and then Bust a Nut follows that up with
thank you.
penis.
Nice.
Okay.
You will not see penis on the stream, unfortunately. Though we have 3 of them to present, we will not present them.
Sorry.
That costs money.
That's saved for unreserved channels.
Right. Yeah. So something called fans.
We have strayed quite far from zombies, I think, but I'm not going to like fight to keep us in the realm of zombies. I think we should just keep talking shit on movies. Is probably
a general discussion about movies sounds fun.
Yeah. Well, so speaking of shitty movies, now what the fuck did I watch the other day? Oh, I watched
Madison G is claiming that we all know who she is.
Yes, we do.
Definitely don't.
Oh,
doesn't ring a bell.
I don't know who that girl is.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I wonder if people call her Maddie for short.
Nah.
What's that?
I wonder if people call her Maddie for short.
Nah.
We wouldn't.
That's not a thing. Nobody does that.
But go ahead, Jonathan. You were talking about a movie, I think. Or,
shit, yeah. Movie. I watched a movie called In the Earth, which is a horror film.
Okay.
And it was it got so surreal at one point that the movie just like wasn't a movie anymore, which was kind of interesting because they just committed to that. But like the general premise was that there's a stone monolith in the middle of the forest that's giving off this like radio frequency.
As it does.
And as right, yeah. And the closer you are to it, the more it like makes you crazy. And there's this lady who's out there, a research scientist, who's like, yo, let me try to make some sounds back to it and see if it like responds. And so she's like out there literally making like synthwave music and like trying to get the rock to respond, and it does, and then it makes them all go crazy. And then it just like they get the trippiest visuals. It literally, yeah, it's like, what the fuck is happening? It was a wild movie. And then like the last 30 minutes are so incomprehensible. Like you don't know what's happening because there's just so much visuals going on.
Super surreal.
And then it just ends and you're like, oh, I just wasted like 2 hours of my life.
I love that synthwave is what makes the old school Monolith go through.
I love the idea of like monoliths having these weird secret messages for you, or like the like inconceivable giant vast monoliths of like eldritch horror shit like that they include in some stuff. And it's just like, well, how big was the structure? It's inconceivable how big it was. Like this is an insane structure.
Well, it's kind of how Lovecraft does horror, right? Where if he describes it to you, it sucks.
Yeah, you'll fucking die. Like it's too much.
Yeah, and
it's
and
too
so
much to
what,
tell
what he
you.
relies on is it's so weird I can't even tell you what it is. So we just have to like imagine that it's like too weird for me to even like say what it is, and if you heard what it is, you'd go crazy. It's all like
I'm
locked
definitely
off behind, like
I'm convinced that we made his work seem a lot cooler after the fact, because like he had a pretty bad cop out when he was writing it of just being like, I don't want to describe this shit, so I'm just gonna say it's too crazy to describe.
So I agree, but also
I feel
disagree.
that way too.
Lovecraft relies heavily on like you have to imagine the worst thing you can imagine,
right?
As a reader, but also stories like The Color Out of Space. He does a lot of describing something in a way that like makes you feel horrified, which I think is like really good, and it's obviously one of his better works, of course.
Right.
So yeah, Lovecraft kind of sucks in a certain way where a lot of times he's like relying on you like imagining the worst thing you can imagine, but then also he did also do some work that was like, I'm going to describe something in really non-linear terms that's going to make you feel kind of like bad about what I'm describing. So
I'm reminded of Dagon. That's like a 6-page story that is really effective.
Yeah.
And then at the end, you get to actually see the creature and hear a description about it. That was well done. But it makes me feel weird that they tried to make an 1.5-hour movie out of it in the early 2000s.
That is kind of weird.
Right.
2000s is not a good era.
Lovecraft's work should probably be kept to writing. And when people try to translate it into other forms, like there's been a couple of like Lovecraftian games that have come out, and they're a little bit scary, but they're not like nearly as terrifying as like reading the work that is based off of.
I did play one of those said games.
Yeah.
I played the Call of Cthulhu, like first person,
right? Yeah,
kind of like adventure first person thing.
I didn't even know that existed.
And I gotta say the buildup was nice, but what really cemented it was going into these deep cave systems where they have cult members.
Yeah,
and
right.
They have different things going down, and that's where I felt kind of spooky, for sure. But the end of the game is super fantasy, super out there, and it just the ending, depending on which ending you get, it's pretty effective in my opinion.
Yeah, not horrible games, but not nearly as spooky, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, even though it's called Call of Cthulhu, it's not going to be anywhere near as good as reading it.
Right.
Although the movie Color Out of Space was dope.
Yes, that is a good adaptation
That was
for
actually
sure.
pretty good. Also, I think it's mostly because get to see Nicolas Cage be fucking nuts in a movie, because he's just been like, let me just take roles where I can just rage in all of the shit that I'm doing. Like when he's in Mandy, it was amazing. Just like straight.
I think he takes roles in movies because he's bought a bunch of fucking ancient skeletons that cost a lot of money. Nick Cage is a weird one. and he's not a bad actor, but he takes roles in movies because he has to pay off his ancient skeleton collection debts.
Yeah, the Coppola money wasn't gonna help him, right?
I mean, he's like a cousin.
Yeah,
you know, he's not like direct family line to Coppola.
Makes sense.
So
yeah,
we just watched Willy's Wonderland like a couple months ago.
A fucking hilarious movie. I don't think he says a word through the whole movie.
Yeah, he doesn't say a single line in the entire thing.
Yeah, which is kind of nuts now that I think about it.
He plays a janitor at like a abandoned Chuck E. Cheese style
it's
thing.
That game.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
It's basically just that come to life.
All the animatronics try to kill him, and he's just trying to clean up the area.
Right. I'm trying to think of what else. Well, he's been in a lot of shit. I started doing this thing where if I like a certain actor or director, I'll go download all their shit. Obviously, don't illegally download shit, but I go and get all their shit.
No, I also have a subscription like to Disney Plus on the internet.com.
Right. On the internet.
Yeah.
I still haven't watched the new Mandalorian now that you mentioned that. Or not the Mandalorian, Boba Fett. What is it?
Dude,
Boba Fett?
Fuck. Don't get me started on that shit. The Mandalorian like, sucks. I'm sorry. Please stop watching it. The Boba Fett thing is like worse than the Mandalorian. Like the Mandalorian is like a craven sort of like financial gamble, essentially, that we like how Boba Fett looked, right? Everybody that like is deeply ingrained in like Star Wars like lore or culture or whatever, Boba Fett looks fucking cool. So the Mandalorian is like, hey, what if we just like took this aesthetic and we like made it into a story so that people could like, I don't know, watch Boba Fett essentially. And then what happens with like the Boba Fett like pre-story or whatever, like Boba Fett didn't matter to Star Wars essentially. Like if you really look at Boba Fett's like interaction with Star Wars in the original trilogy, he doesn't fucking matter. He's a throwaway character. He's a plot device that like imprisons Han Solo, and then he gets killed off pretty easily. But everyone like
literally
stuck with the idea that
the fucking thing.
Yeah, like everyone's stuck with the like he looks cool though, so let's make him more than what he is. And so now we have the Mandalorian, which is really just kind of garbage. Sorry. Nothing interesting has happened in the Mandalorian, and nothing interesting will ever happen in the Mandalorian. And now we have the Boba Fett like prequel shit where we're taking a character who really had like the most minor role, but on the basis of him looking kind of cool, we're gonna turn him into like a full-fledged character, and that sucks. And the actor for Boba Fett is now like fat and old, which nothing against being fat and old, because I'm fat and old. He's still fat and old, and that sucks. That makes him not like a good bounty hunter, you know.
Somehow he's still like unstoppable in the show,
right? Which is silly, because everybody watching, and that's why it's not doing well in like any review or anything
right,
like
yeah,
that.
they're tearing it apart.
Yeah, they're tearing it apart, and they should be tearing it apart because it sucks. And that's going back to what we talked about on the last episode of the Benzo Rehab Dungeon, Eternals. Nobody wanted Eternals.
I still haven't watched that shit.
Nobody asked for Eternals, and we got Eternals. And
Right.
when people were like, "Hey, this movie fucking sucks," the response was, "Oh, you hate it because it's a POC woman that directed it, and there's a gay kiss scene in it." Like, no, that's not what people actually fucking care about. Ben Shapiro might fucking care about that fucking facet of the movie, but mostly nobody asked for this, and it's a garbage fucking movie. It just sucks.
Yeah, you have a movie, The Eternals. Who the fuck are the Eternals? And you have someone kiss each other on screen.
I love that he just keeps making things worse for himself every time he opens his mouth. It's so fucking funny.
I love the fact a long time ago when he was just like, "This is my piece of wood. I have bought this piece of wood. This is mine, and I own it." And you're just like, "What are you doing?" With the bag all over it.
Yo.
I'm gonna put a hole in one side of this piece of wood. I'm gonna fuck it, and if you call me out on that, you're weird, not me.
Yeah, you're the weird one. What the fuck?
Well, in response to the Eternals, I mean, I think what said it best was the review said, "Whatever got this woman an Oscar, it is not here." Clearly.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. What was I thinking about? Oh, I was gonna talk about The Mandalorian. I only liked two things in The Mandalorian. One, I got to see Ahsoka Tano, and then two, I forgot what the other one was. What the fuck was the other one?
So you really only have one
I
thing.
guess it was not important.
Wait.
The main actor. The actor is Pedro Pascal, he's a dope dude because it's a guy from Game of Thrones. He was Oberyn.
But like,
and then he was also. That's it. Even though he doesn't really speak that much, I'm just glad it was him.
He was also in Narcos,
which is a pretty good show,
and he was also in that Kingsman sequel that they made.
He was.
Yep. He was the
they let a brown person in one.
Oh no, he was the Kingsman. I liked the first one, and then the second one was garbage.
You know why you like the first one? Because it had Samuel L. Jackson.
Well. Yeah, he's a great villain in that one, but
he was bonding it up.
No, I think secretly I just really liked the girl with the blade legs in that movie. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
his henchman.
Also, shout out to the church scene where everyone in that Christian church just decides to kill each other because of the frequency they.
Yeah, that was kind of gnarly. Yeah, I want to watch the new Boba Fett one only because I heard Danny Trejo shows up in it, and I just want to see him be a Sarlacc trainer, which is hilarious. Why would you even do that? I get that they want to bring in notable people, but he has he shouldn't have brought him into Star Wars.
Well, also the Sarlacc is a throwaway plot point, right? It's the deal. Yeah. It's the deal with, hey, we have this throwaway kind of bounty hunter character. How do we get rid of him? Because we don't need him for the rest of the plot. We throw him into the Sarlacc pit, which is just like a Deus Ex Machina sort of situation where it's it's not explained. We don't know what a Sarlacc is. It's not part of the main plot or anything like that. He just gets thrown into a thing, which is essentially a garbage compactor. And then Boba Fett is done. That's all we need to do. But Disney recognizes that Boba Fett is a aesthetic that can make money. So now we have to turn all this into real stories.
That was a thing because he was one of the most sold toys back in the 80s.
True.
Because he had the jetpack and everything.
Yeah.
And there's very rare versions of Boba Fett with certain items on him back in the day. But when they brought,
I got
Jango
some rare
Fett
Boba Fett's over here if you want to see them.
Wait. So one of the reasons why he was popular was probably only because he was made into an action figure in the 80s.
Yeah, that was like a big part of it. Boba Fett was a very popular selling toy. And then there were certain rare versions of him with like gold blasters or a gold jetpack that were malfunctioned. So eventually collectors were just like, well, shit, I need to find this thing. And it goes for several hundreds of thousands of dollars now on the internet.
That's kind of wild to think about how much money was made on toys like that. It's like when they came out with like G.I. Joe and Barbie and all the other shit during that time. All the fucking Mattel shit that they came out with.
We watched that show, The Toys That Made Us. We watched the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
one of the most wholesome stories ever on how something got created and how it's still maintained. Like, what the fuck? That was such a good documentary on that.
I guess they were making comic books, and eventually one of the guys that was making the comic books got really sad and depressed. So as a joke, his partner basically made a turtle with a ninja getup, and he was like, "Hey, look at this." And he was like, "Hey, that actually made me smile." That's silly. Let's make something out of this. And they had a very dark and gritty, like samurai style,
like Sin City shit.
Yeah, no, the original Ninja Turtles are actually pretty like fucking hardcore.
Yeah, legit.
They were killing people, they were learning the martial arts, and they were learning how to use the weapons. It was really cool. And then, you guys want to make toys and make money and make a live action movie and musical, and
I still love the first live action movie. It's like the dumbest fucking movie ever made.
Oh yeah, no, the original movies are fucking like stupid as hell, but they're great movies. And really it's like the newer movies are just fucking garbage because they try to like over explain why the Ninja Turtles do everything they do. And they over explain like fucking Splinter or whatever. Really, it's just like over explaining stuff that makes these movies fucking ass. And it's when all you have to explain the situation is like there's turtles and there's ninjas. That makes the movie great because you can explore from that and when they make it into an actual movie, it's like, oh shit, there's ninjas and there's turtles. They're turtles at the same time.
I feel like that was the appeal of the original. They were like, check this shit out. We have fucking ninjas in this shit.
Yeah.
It's the 80s.
Yeah, and their teacher is a rat.
I love that he made like right. Yeah, it's not just a rat, it's a New York rat.
Yeah, that too.
That motherfucker
got radiated, pizza rat.
Turned into the fucking and became this fucking master who taught all these things. I love that Shredder was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna indoctrinate all of these homeless 80s children and then turn them into a fucking the Foot and just fucking go and have them do my bidding, which is so fucked. But like at the time, he's like, you know what? Fucking here's arcade games, a skate park, fucking food, and they were like, yeah, this is legit. I'll be a fucking ninja for this shit. And then that's how he made his army, and it's really fucking funny.
Like I like the design of the like two henchmen that they have, like the pig that looks like a punk dude.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah,
I forget what the fuck their names are, but like they were like really famous.
Like Splitter.
It's one's Rocksteady for sure.
Yeah, Rocksteady and something else.
Yeah.
Wow, I should know. Whatever, fuck.
Yeah. And then you got Krang, which is a cool idea for a villain because it's prior to anyone using a brain as like a big baddie. Like the end of Doom, we go against the Spider Mastermind, but prior to that, all we had was Krang.
That's true. Well, yeah, I don't think there's anything else. I was gonna say MODOK, but he's not the same. He's got a weird body. You know what I was like? No, you know what? Oh no, that was later. God damn it.
Yeah. See.
Yeah, there's nothing else that was there. I was thinking of Billy and Mandy, the like evil con carne fucking cartoon they had in there.
That was fun.
That was like inside like a cartoon inside a cartoon where you had the fucking brain who was walked around by like a bear. You remember that shit?
Yeah,
that was
I
weird
do remember that stuff. They even brought like one of those characters into an episode, and he was like, "So what are you?" And he's like, "I'm General Scar. I used to run all these missions and basically destroy whole nations, and people felt my wrath." And he's like, "Well, what do you do now?" And he's like, "Now I make I make cakes and pastries." And he's like, "You ain't nothing, son. You ain't nothing."
Oh, when Billy like fucking just insults him.
Yeah, he's like,
he had some of the best lines in that show that were just wild and off the wall.
So that actor who plays Billy, they recently did a Kickstarter animation called Hell of a Boss. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's all on YouTube for free. It follows a group of people in hell that are demons, and basically they have a book that takes them to the mortal realm, and they basically hire them who are in hell to get revenge on why people brought them to hell.
I mean, that sounds dope.
Yeah, and it's very fun, and the animation's good, but it's really funny because they're like, well, this bitch made me die, so I'm gonna pay you guys money so you go take her out.
That makes me think of the weird Adult Swim show. What is it? Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell.
That's a show.
And it's just like an office space where like the demons are working, and it's just the funniest version of what you could think hell is. Because like offices are truly a hellscape when you fucking work in them. Like it is just awful.
Well, you guys may have heard of and it's kind of cringy because it has a lot of 4chan in it. But the back rooms. Have you guys ever heard of the back rooms?
Never.
I don't think so.
So the back rooms is this concept where like you as a person just living your normal life accidentally like fall through the floor, and then you end up in the back rooms, and the back rooms are these dingy like office space sort of areas that's like an eternal maze, and like you wander through it for forever, and then there's like humanoid like dog creatures that try to chase you down.
What the fuck?
The more you get into it, it's like funny kind of like horror comedy sort of stuff, but yeah, it's just basically like you as a normal person living in the corporate hellscape that like constructed like office spaces kind of create. So
right. And the water cooler is your only escape, right?
Kind of basically, yeah, because like the carpet is damp, but you can't drink the carpet water. Obviously, you have to survive some way, and the carpet water is not the way to survive because it's just gross, you know.
Oh
So,
man,
that sounds hilarious, but also awful.
Yeah. I think at this point, everyone is just making fun of offices, and there's like, you could do this shit at home, right?
Right. Yeah, we gotta seriously prove that you could do a lot of work from home. And office space kind of useless.
A lot of this stuff comes from the obvious notion that, hey, maybe offices don't need to exist. Now that we're learning that we could do all this stuff from home, and smart people always knew this all along, that you don't have to actually like go to your work site to do all the office work. And
yeah, that's kind of wild.
Even a lot of like physical work actually doesn't need to be done from an office space like it's normally done. You could just arrive at a work site and like hammer a couple of nails in and be done with your fucking day. You don't have to check in at the corporate headquarters or whatever. So yeah, it's interesting.
Have you ever heard of a movie called The Belko Experiment?
Oh shit! Yeah,
that's
a good example.
So the premise is that all these people are basically working for a company where they do some sort of business, but they get moved to this area in Central America, and they all have to go into their office. And so they finally go into it, and then a speaker comes out on the intercom and basically says, there are 100 of you in this building, and we're going to start killing you unless you kill like 6 people right now.
Well, this is after they lock it down.
After they lock it down and everything.
You can't escape the windows, the doors, they're all locked in.
Okay,
and so
you know
eventually
what?
they're like,
I think I have actually seen this movie, but go
on. Eventually they're like, is this a prank? Like, what's going on? And they said, well, since you haven't killed an X amount of people, we're gonna blow up your heads with the implant that we put in all of you. And chaos ensues because they're basically every hour they're just saying, okay, kill 30 more people, kill 20 more people, X amount of people, you know.
It's weird. There's like a specific genre of movie that exists around people stuck in a building. Like there's quite a few movies that have that premise.
Yeah, I'm working on a paper that talks about how buildings are inherently fascistic when they reach a certain size. So
I like where this is going.
Yeah,
I can agree.
Of course, like living spaces are cool and neat.
Right.
But once you like consolidate enough of a living space, enough of a workspace, it kind of necessarily becomes fascistic because it's a place where people are essentially trapped in. And also, if you think about things like 9/11, like, would a plane have been crashed into a shorter building? No, that wouldn't have happened. You wouldn't have died in the same way as the people who died on 9/11 if they were in a shorter building, because nobody would have crashed a fucking plane into that shorter building. So essentially what happens is we build these massive structures, and these massive structures become consolidated like forces of demanding people to be there. And then like what we're gonna see in the near future is like fires are gonna break out, because fires happen sometimes, and the people inside of these buildings are not gonna have like the necessary escape structures, because it's a giant fucking building that you can't escape from. So
can't use the elevator.
Yeah, actually, you can't use the elevator, and all you have is like maybe one flight of stairs that thousands of people have to escape down from, and that doesn't work. Yikes. You know,
not only that, but traps. You know, do you want to go down 90 flights of stairs? Can you do such a thing?
Are you a person who can make it down 90 flights of stairs?
If you sit in an office, definitely not.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say no. Just like 80% of those people cannot make that trip.
Right. Yeah. So
that's a good point. They're fucking death traps, pretty much, once they get above a certain height.
Yeah. That paper is gonna come out soonish. But
nice.
In my own opinion, I make a lot of really good points for why we shouldn't build skyscrapers or buildings that are tall in general.
I remember you telling me about that one certain building in the Middle East that is basically uninhabited.
The Burj Khalifa.
Basically just that one. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
That thing fucking sucks so much. They literally have to truck out their shit. The Burj Khalifa is not connected to a sewer, so it all goes to waste trucks, and then the waste trucks have to like truck it out into the desert and dump their waste. No way to explain how to use that.
Right, yeah.
Well, the thing is, I work in the construction industry, and it's kind of weird to hear these opinions and then look at my work, because then I look at it a little differently.
No.
And that's good.
That's,
I mean, I love to hear
that's exactly how I exist too. Is I've been in the construction industry for a long time, and a lot of times like I've been hammering things into like existence, and then I'm like, should we be building this stupid fucking thing that we're building? Like, and then
right
now that I've like examined it, I'm like, no. I thought the buildings, the 4-story structures that I was working on were like stupid as hell. But like we as humans are just making like worse fucking things. which are literally towering over us and will one day collapse on top of us.
And the thing is, you're never going to get the support of the blue collar worker, because they're like, well, you see this skyscraper here, that's like 600 days of work.
Yeah,
I have work for the next X amount of days.
It all comes back to financialization, of course, because everybody needs to make a living, which is a problem in itself. Like, why does everybody need to make a living? We could probably just subsist and have a fine time doing that without everybody like necessarily having to work a whole lot of time in order to make something that is eventually going to kill lots of people. Like, so the construction industry exists for very real financialized reasons, and then those real financialized reasons are the worst thing that you can imagine in reality.
Are you familiar at all with like the devastating effects of the fishing industry?
Yeah, of course I am. Yeah. I mean,
I just
every industry is the same, where
Right.
where it's too much money placed on something, and since it makes money, people want to make more money than they actually can, and so what they do is they overfish, they overproduce, they over expend anything that happens, essentially, that can make money.
I recently watched a documentary called Seaspiracy, where this guy basically wanted to go on his own little tirade with his partner and basically just record stuff. And eventually they basically found that all those companies that have like the dolphin safe or sustainable fishing stickers, 80% of their profits are made so they could actually have that licensing for the sticker itself. And when he went to go film the actual fishing boats, you just see mass amounts of like tuna being taken, but for every, like, I don't know, several tons of tuna, there's, I don't know, 100 or so dolphins, or maybe like 1,500 turtles in there. And and they're obviously going to die in the nets. And so the only thing they could do is just throw the things back overboard. And then I tried talking to a friend about it. They're like, well, it's sustainable because they're not taking all of them and they could still reproduce. And I'm like, but if you look at the numbers, we've basically taken 80% of all tuna in the area, or on this earth. So there's no sustainability about it.
Right. And you know, the differences between actual sustainable cultures like Native Americans who did fishing, and then we have the corporatized version of it, which is like destroying the planet. And so that's why, like, silly, like, dork ass liberals who are like, I'm a vegetarian or I'm vegan, like they fucking miss the point that there's an element of human predation on certain flora and fauna, whatever, that doesn't really play into like the actual damaging, horrible effects of corporate implementations of predating on fish and wildlife. So yeah, it's nerd ass shit where like you say, oh, I don't eat fish because I'm ethically consuming stuff, and it's like, shut up, you fucking dork. Like, there's no ethical consumption to begin with, and then like your ethical consumption of plants also kills a fuck ton of like fauna by the way it's grown, and it's actually okay to eat meat. Sorry. We just have to accept that it's okay to eat meat, but you have to like understand where the meat comes from, and you have to like understand also that like you shouldn't just eat always meat all the time. Like that, like there's a rational consumption there.
I always say this is my argument for like veganism or vegetarianism when it comes to like the fake like burgers or like the fake chicken nuggets and stuff.
Right.
A lot of that stuff is highly processed, and they use a lot of different soybean oils as well as like different types of breading that are just basically god awful for your stomach and god awful for you, but you feel like you have a little sense of pride because you're not actually eating meat, but the only thing that you're doing is you're ruining your body, and people are getting rich off of that.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Well,
that's
and
like basically
the other thing is
the food industry.
The other thing is
the thing is you could be eating vegetables and just lean meat and basically working out, and that's fine.
Right. And I have nothing against anybody who decides not to eat meat, but when it comes to like the Beyond Burger, the substitute meat sort of stuff, it's like, why are you substituting meat? Is it because you actually want
stuff
meat?
Like this before. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm like, yo, if I'm gonna be mostly eating vegetarian stuff, that's like, I know what vegetables look like and I want them to be that way.
Yeah.
So it's confusing to create the like patty version of it where it's like gonna look like meat, or like they go as far as to make the like here's a slab of meat that you cook, but it's vegetables, but it looks like that. So I was like, this is kind of weird. I feel like you should probably just leave it like in its original form and don't go through the processing methods.
Burger,
Yeah, otherwise just go get
do you think,
burger.
Do you think
if
God
you want a
intended
burger,
us
just have a fucking burger.
Do you think God intended us to eat burgers made out of peas? No.
Out of peas? That's the first. I've actually
that's what they use in Impossible.
They do?
They use pea protein.
I don't know, man. Impossible meat tastes a little too close to me. I think they're just fooling people.
It's all the salt they put in there, bro.
Yeah,
that's really what it boils down
to. It's like what
is
that fucking movie? Soylent. It's Soylent.
Yeah. Soylent Green is people.
Yeah, you get it. Yeah. You get some crazy, which at this point wouldn't be that surprising, honestly, because of just the gnarly shit they've been putting into stuff. It's weird how close we are to the actual cyberpunk universe of just like corporate taking over everything and just like putting advertisements like inside your brain at this point, like because they monitor every fucking part of your life.
The algorithm loves you.
It's kind of wild. Yeah.
It just knows that that's the thing. Like on Thursdays, I usually fill up on gas at the local gas station. Occasionally, I'll have like a Reese's peanut butter cup because breakfast is champions, right? When I'm looking at my social medias before I go to work, it's like, hey, get recess, remember? And I'm like, oh, you just know I get this at this point.
It told you the item.
I get this every Thursday. So.
Wild. That's fucking wild. Did you ever watch that documentary that was talking about modern social media things following? What was it called? I'll have to look it up in a second. Basically, it was like your phone monitors every single thing you do, and then social media is designed to bring you back into it. So to like send you notifications and shit to be like, oh, you haven't checked Facebook in like 3 hours. We need to send you a notification that someone posted something, and that's how they like draw you back in. Oh, it's a social dilemma.
I hate that
that's
shit because even though I love all my friends, I really don't interact with Facebook unless I have to, and then Facebook will be like, oh hey, this friend that posted something 2 hours ago. We're gonna remind you about that, and now you have to interact with it. I love that friend, so now I have to interact with it because I've been brought to this space where I'm having to look at what my friend posted. But I really don't fucking want to engage with Facebook.
It's slowly dying, like the slowest death. Of just people who are.
It's gonna come back in a weird way with the metaverse.
That's fucking the
like
weird
goggles attached to our face. I mean, some of you guys might have goggles attached to your face.
Yeah, so we're going down that dystopian future.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be pissing on trees at that point.
We're gonna be in the Ready Player One Sword Art Online arc for humanity.
Right. Yeah. Honestly, although Ready Player One was a little too fucking optimistic, if you ask me, about what the fuck they're gonna do with that technology.
Yeah. Everything about technology is always way more optimistic than it should be.
Oh, totally.
And we can see that in things like self-driving cars. Where's that gone? Well, it doesn't exist because
those things,
self-driving cars kill people all the time.
Yeah, that was I was exactly what I was gonna say. I've seen a few people on the freeway. I'm like driving fucking like a normal person, and then I like look over and see this dude who's just like he's like eating like a full fucking pizza in his car, like not driving because he's got one of the self-driving Teslas. And like it just freaked me out. I'm like, I need to get as far away from this person as possible.
Yeah,
like,
because he's always
and that's
like
just me
bouncing
being
around the
of, like,
lines.
I don't think,
you know, like I drive a lot too now for work, and I see these people who think that their self-driving car is actually self-driving, and these are the people that are like crossing over lines and traffic and like making everything feel weird and sketchy when you're trying to drive to a location because they're not engaged, and the self-driving car doesn't actually exist. It's just like a fucking a gimmick essentially.
Even the self-driving assisted cars, like cars that give you warnings about certain things if you're getting too close, like our other co-host Mitch on the podcast has one of those newer cars, and if he gets too close to something, it gives him a notification and it activates the brakes occasionally. And I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about that, because I'd rather just be in 100% control of the situation.
Because it can misidentify some things, right? And so you have something that's automatically applying the brakes while it's also automatically misidentifying stuff. You know, that's not good. That's not what we should strive for. And the basic premise is that, you know, we're gonna save ourselves through technology, but we can't actually save ourselves through technology. Maybe we just need to drive less. If driving is such a problem, we should maybe just drive less. And
I wonder, I think they've released some information on it not too long ago, but because so many people are not driving because they're staying home, that it had like an actual effect on the environment of just like there's not as much pollution, which is kind of wild, because it's like because that was like the main source for like certain areas.
Well, not to say that the majority of pollution is caused by individual people driving to their work sites. Because really what actually produces the most pollution is a couple of companies.
Like 4.
Yeah, like 4 to 5 companies that really kind of like produce the most pollution. You know, even still, it's good for the environment that we don't drive as much. And what we've learned through the pandemic is that all of our jobs where we have to drive into work a lot of the time can actually be done from home. And why aren't we doing that more? That makes more ecological sense. That makes more sense. Like, you know, my current job, a lot of the times I on Mondays and Fridays, because those are like my hard work from home days, I just wake up like 20 minutes before I have to like start working.
Same.
And I don't do anything to prep. I don't like fucking have to like get ready and then start driving in my car to a place. I just wake up and now I'm working. Now I'm doing my job. And that's fine. Like that should actually be an ideal. Like if we want to see capitalism as like an idealist sort of thing, this is the best that we can do it, essentially.
In the line that I work in, you know, the
gay sex industry, yeah.
Right, porn.
I work in the metal and steel industry, and definitely those people, they all their owners and their previous successors, they all subscribe to the early 50s thing where you work 40 hours, you go home, you come to work every day on time, you know.
Sure.
And that's always how it was for them. So I've had it where I would go to days and my boss is like, well, we have 8 hours worth of work. That's about it for the rest of the week though. So either we could do 8 hours today or we could split it up to 2 4-hours. And I was like, well, let's do it all the day so we can have a couple days off. And he's like,
Yeah.
I think we should do the 2 4 days. And I was like, what's the point of that? He's like, well, you should be going to work every day. You know, that's just what you do. And I'm just my mind is blown.
You gotta have the show of force, essentially. You know, right?
Yeah.
Like
you gotta go to your job because that's what is expected of you, and you should be going to work if you're not.
That's
Right.
annoying.
It's very outdated.
So
it's outdated, and it just like really doesn't actually make sense to anybody.
not anymore. Yeah, that's kind of it's fallen out of popularity for people to do that shit, especially after all this stuff. So we got to go to sleep like soon-ish because we got to record in the morning. We got to record in a couple hours for the
some people are little babies, I guess. But yeah, no, it was great talking to you, you two gentlemen.
Yeah.
Have me on the regular podcast sometime so I can shit it up with all the things I normally say.
Awesome.
As always, we love you. Please take your medicine. None of my co-hosts are here.
I'm Murr.
Yeah, and I'm Jonathan.
So that's Murr and that's Jonathan. They run Bringing Down the Grindhouse podcast. Which people should probably listen to, I guess, and maybe I'll be on there one day. I don't know.
He's like, you like movies, you like horror films, go listen to us talk about them.
Yeah, great. Wonderful to have you folks on, and we'll see you another time.
All right, Deebs. It was nice seeing you.